Have you not once sat alone, staring into the folds of the night sky, and whispered into the stars, "Will what is mine come to me? Or must I go to it?" In that moment, you were not asking about career or marriage or wealth. You were asking about something deeper. You were asking about your place in this unfolding tapestry, about your destiny, your fate, your Naseeb. Let us walk together through this mystery, not as scholars, but as travelers crossing the bridge between the seen and the unseen. The sages once whispered words heavy with truth. What is meant for you will reach you, even if it lies beneath two mountains. But the hearts of people often tremble at these words. Some take comfort in them. Others fall into stillness and stagnation. Yet the truth of the matter is far more subtle, far more alive, than our minds would prefer. For destiny, that mysterious unfolding written by hands unseen, is not a prison that binds, but a compass that orients. It does not cage your soul, it calls it forward. Many believe destiny to be something that arrives while one waits at the door. A letter that falls from the heavens, sealed and complete. But destiny is not a letter. It is a path, a garden, a wilderness, a sky. And you are not its recipient. You are its traveler. What is destined for you is not a paragraph carved in stone that you recite without thought. It is not a predetermined routine where you are a puppet pulled by strings. No. It is a landscape that appears only as you walk it. It is a bridge that builds itself beneath your feet. It is the unfolding of a hidden map, revealed one breath at a time. A man once approached a mystic, full of doubt and fire. He asked, "If my sustenance is written, if my rizq, my opportunities, my relationships, my success, are already decided, then why should I struggle? Why wake early? Why knock on doors? Why wear my shoes thin on the roads of effort?" And the mystic, who had long since stopped mistaking effort for control, simply smiled and said, "Even your striving is written. Your movements, your delays, your tears, your mistakes, all are threads woven into the design. You walk the path not to create it, but to awaken to it. To awaken, not to build, not to force, but to witness. For the path is already there. You cannot rush it, but you can meet it. You cannot demand it, but you can prepare for it. There is a story of a farmer who planted his crops and, before they had sprouted, began weeping to the heavens. "Where is my harvest?" he cried. "I have labored. I have waited." And an old man passing by said to him, "O dear farmer, your task was to plant and to water. The growth is not in your hands. But had you not planted, what would the earth have had to raise?" In the same way, your destiny needs your planting. Your destiny needs your yes. Your destiny calls out from the hidden, waiting for your steps to echo its call. You are not separate from your fate. You are its mirror, its living witness, its breathing possibility. So do not confuse divine decree with human passivity. Do not mistake the written for the static. What is written for you will not miss you. But you may be asleep when it knocks. You may be in love with the wrong image. You may be drowning in fear. And so your task is to remain awake, to keep walking, to keep showing up with sincerity, even when the answers delay, even when the door seems shut. Know this: the ink of destiny is not cold. It is alive, and it moves with the beat of your intention. Your prayers rise, your choices ripple, your actions reverberate in unseen realms. Every time you lift your hands, every time you rise after falling, you are not changing fate. You are meeting it. You are catching up to what has been chasing you all along. So let your heart be humble. Let your steps be steady. And when you find yourself in a place you never planned to be, whether in sorrow or in triumph, whisper to your soul, "This, too, was written, and I have arrived not by chance, but by invitation." Let the invitation guide you. Let the unfolding teach you. Destiny is not a fixed destination. It is a sacred meeting between the one who writes and the one who dares to read with the eyes of the heart. There was a woman I once came to know, not through her words alone, but through the silence she carried. She was 42, unmarried, and in the eyes of the world, she was late. Her youth, they said, had passed. Every proposal that came her way slipped through her fingers like sand that refused to stay. And the world, oh, how quickly it casts judgment on what it does not understand, leaned in close and whispered into her weary heart, "Give up. It's not meant for you. Stop searching." But she did not stop. Not because she was stubborn, but because she was faithful. She kept praying, not as a demand, but as a whisper of love to the one who sees the unseen. She kept growing, not for someone else, but for the self she was becoming. She learned new things. She healed old wounds. She planted flowers, even when no guest had come to admire them. Her loneliness did not make her bitter. It made her spacious, like the earth that rests before spring. Then, at 45, a man entered her story. Not with fanfare, not with perfection, but with a heart that had known loss. He had buried his wife, and yet, somehow, life in him had not been buried. He was not looking to replace a love. He was seeking someone who could understand that love remains, but also expands. And when they met, it was not with the fever of youth, but with the quiet knowing of souls that have waited. They married. They built a home, not a palace, but a refuge. And they raised her orphaned niece together, weaving a family from threads that others had called too thin. And one day, over tea and the soft hush of dusk, she said words I still carry. "Had I married earlier, I would have missed him. My Naseeb had a schedule I could not see." So I ask you now, from a place of reflection and not haste, was her fate ever delayed? Or was it, like fruit on the branch, simply ripening? There are things in life that arrive not when we want them, but when we are ready to carry their weight without breaking. Had she forced open the door years before, would her heart have been ready to receive this man, this child, this chapter? Sometimes what feels like a denial is actually divine timing, waiting for our soul to catch up. The world often defines success by how quickly we arrive. But the truth is, the soul does not measure by clocks. It grows in seasons. It blooms in surrender. Delay is not denial. It is often preparation. It is the unseen mercy that saves you from what you thought you wanted and gives you what you could not have imagined. So if your road seems long, and if others are arriving before you, do not curse your pace. Keep walking. Keep praying. Keep becoming. Because what is written for you is not in a rush, but it is on time. Do not mistake submission for silence, nor surrender for stillness. The heart was not shaped to lie idle in the dust, nor was the soul formed to watch its life unfold without reaching for it. True submission is not passivity. It is a sacred participation, a dance between the hand that knocks and the door that opens, between the foot that walks and the earth that responds. You were not created to sit at the edge of your life, waiting for fate to knock. You were created to walk toward it, even as it rushes quietly to meet you. Yes, what is written will find you, but only along the paths where your footsteps are heard. A traveler cannot meet his destination if he never leaves his home. And a heart cannot find its share of love, of sustenance, of purpose, if it sits in fear of movement, clothed in the illusion that fate will arrive on its own, without invitation. Even rain must fall upon fields that have been plowed. Even sunlight must meet a seed that dares to rise. A seed buried in the soil cannot cry for the sky while refusing to grow. It cannot demand light while remaining hidden beneath the earth. Growth is painful. It is dark at first. It demands effort before beauty. But unless the seed pushes through the discomfort, it will never taste the sun. So it is with your path. Do not speak of destiny while refusing to rise from the place you have chosen to sit. You must move. You must try. You must knock. And yet, the strangest thing is this: you must also let go. Strive with all that you have, and still know. It is not your striving that delivers, it is the one who responds. This is the paradox, the delicate thread that the soul walks daily. Strive as if all rests on your shoulders. Trust as if nothing does. Plant your field with trembling hands, but never believe the fruit grows from you. It grows through you, by a will far greater. There is a mystery in this balance, a sacred rhythm where lovers of the divine reside. They move toward what is already moving toward them. They weep in prayer for the very thing that is already being prepared for them. They walk tirelessly, and yet they are not tired, because they know they are not chasing something distant. They are walking home. To live like this is to breathe both fire and water, to act and yet surrender, to long and yet be at peace. The wind that guides the bird is not seen, but the bird must still stretch its wings. The river flows toward the ocean not by force, but by alignment, and the soul finds its share of written provision, not through desperation, but through trust dressed in action. So rise each morning and do your part. Water your hopes. Knock on the doors. Walk the long roads. But never forget, the one who wrote your story does not require your effort, only your willingness to show up in the pages. Let me not speak in abstract theories, for the soul does not awaken through logic alone. Let me speak to you instead in the language of the earth, the wind, and the waters, because the laws that govern the soul are mirrored in the world around you. If only you would look. You ask whether you should search for what is meant for you, whether it will find you. But this question is like asking whether the flame seeks the air, or whether the air rushes to the flame. The answer is not one or the other. The answer is the meeting, the dance, the mutual longing written in both. Look at the river. It does not stand still waiting for the sea to come to it. No, it carves its way forward, shaping the earth, cutting through valleys, breaking through stone. It moves with urgency, but not haste. It does not know the exact direction, but it trusts the pull. And that pull, what is it? It is the sea, calling without a voice, drawing without hands. The sea does not shout, and yet its gravity is irresistible. It sends no signposts, but the river feels it in its very current. This is the unseen call of your Naseeb. It reaches you not just through what you desire, but through every delay, every heartbreak, every moment you thought you were lost. But what if the river, tired and uncertain, decides to stop? What if it listens to the doubts that say, perhaps the sea is not real, or perhaps it is too far? Then it becomes stagnant. And what is stagnation, if not the death of movement, the quiet burial of destiny? The sea may still call, but the river no longer responds. And so, the meeting never happens, not because it wasn't written, but because the river forgot how to flow. In this world, your search is not desperation. It is remembrance. It is the soul returning to its original direction. You are not meant to chase blindly, nor are you meant to sit and wait for life to knock on your door. You are meant to walk with faith toward that which is walking toward you. And even when you feel alone on that road, know this: something is being prepared as you prepare. Something is unfolding as you unfold. The sea is not just waiting, it is guiding. There is no such thing as a one-sided destiny. What is meant for you also longs for you. Just as the flower leans toward the light, and the sun rises without fail to meet it, so too will your path meet you, if you are willing to keep walking. So do not stand frozen at the crossroads, wondering whether to wait or to seek. Move. Move with your whole heart. Search with eyes open and palms raised. And trust, with quiet certainty, that what you are seeking is also seeking you. Because in the realm of the unseen, the journey and the arrival are not separate. They are two parts of the same sacred motion. My dear seeker, how many nights have you laid your head down heavy? Not from the weight of the world, but from the weight of your own resistance to it. How much grief have you carried? Not because the path was closed, but because you kept knocking on a door that was never built for your hands. There is a kind of sorrow that does not come from loss, but from chasing what was never truly yours. And yet, you held on. Not out of faith, but out of fear. Fear that if you let go, nothing better would come. But tell me, what has clinging ever brought the soul, except blisters? We do not suffer because destiny is cruel. We suffer because we refuse to loosen our grip on illusions. We cry over what left, not realizing it left, because it did not belong. We call it failure when a lover walks away, or when a dream dissolves. But perhaps what we call falling apart is actually falling into place. The plans we made were built with limited sight, but the one who writes our story sees far beyond what our hearts can hold in the moment. How often we fight for what drains us, jobs that hollow our spirit, people who do not truly see us, lives that fit the mold but suffocate the soul. We worship effort without questioning direction. We tell ourselves we are ambitious, but what if we are simply afraid to pause and ask, is this mine? The illusion of control is subtle. It dresses itself as strength, as persistence, as maturity. But underneath it lies a trembling child who cannot trust the unseen. And so, we walk past the open gate, the one that stood quietly waiting, needing no effort to find, only stillness to notice. But we missed it, because it did not match the image we had in our minds. And we suffer again. Not because the gate was hidden, but because we were too busy chasing shadows. But sometimes, mercy wears the face of heartbreak. Sometimes the closing of one chapter is the only way the next can be read. The loss you thought would destroy. You might have been the storm that cleared your path. The loneliness you feared may have been the sacred space where your soul could finally breathe. The delay that maddened you may have saved you from walking into a life that wasn't yours. So don't just ask, what is written for you? That is only half the question. Ask, too, am I aligned with the one who writes? Because if you are not, even blessings will feel like burdens. But if you are, even your trials will feel like signs. Let go, not as surrender to defeat, but as surrender to wisdom. Let go so that your hands may be empty enough to receive. Stop chasing what runs from you. Turn toward what silently waits with open arms. Not everything denied is punishment. Sometimes it is the greatest protection of all. Know this, and let it settle deep within your chest. Not a single step you take is wasted. Not the hurried ones. Not the trembling ones. Not even the steps that led you where you thought you did not belong. For in the view of the one who sees all, past, future, and the unseen depth of your heart, every step is part of the return. Even your detours are not detours. Even your pauses, your stumbles, your circles that led you back to where you began, they were not mistakes. They were appointments. They were the exact roads your soul needed to walk to remember what it had forgotten. You see, we live as though the path is a straight line, a goal to be achieved, a mark to be hit. But in the language of the soul, the path is alive. It moves as you move. It bends with your prayers. It pauses with your pain. And it continues even when you feel you've stopped. So stop measuring your progress by the standards of the world. Stop asking, am I behind? Am I late? Am I lost? These are questions born of fear, not faith. The better question, the one that transforms the heart, is this: how can I walk with faith, with patience, with presence, Because what is meant for you is not waiting in some far-off land, hiding behind years or guarded by destiny's gate. It is within you, already beating in rhythm with your breath. It is unfolding, not all at once, but in sacred portions, step by step, moment by moment. Your task is not to force it open, nor to predict its shape, but simply to walk with sincerity, with a heart that is honest, with actions that are clean, and with a spirit that is not looking to control the outcome, but to meet it with readiness. Pray not because you are desperate, but because you trust. Work not because you are afraid to miss out, but because your effort is a form of worship. Surrender not because you've given up, but because you know what is yours will come. Not by chasing, but by aligning. And this surrender is not weakness. It is strength dressed in silence. It is the quiet certainty that what seeks you is also walking toward you, just as you are walking toward it. You do not chase your provision. It chases you through the doors you are meant to open. You do not conquer your fate. You meet it, eyes clear and soul steady. So walk, even if the path is dim, even if the wind is harsh, even if no one around you understands your direction. Walk with the knowing that your steps are heard. Walk with the remembering that every prayer is answered in ways beyond your sight. Walk with the deep, holy peace that whispers, "You are already on the way." May the delays that once made you restless now become your quiet teachers. For time is not your enemy, it is your mentor, shaping you slowly, layer by layer, into the one who is ready to receive what was written for you before your first breath. What feels like waiting is often preparation. What feels like silence is sometimes protection. The soul must be stretched to hold what it has asked for. So, when life makes you pause, do not curse the stillness. Let it refine you. Let it teach you how to be enough, even before anything arrives. May your rejections no longer feel like endings, but like the hand of the unseen gently turning your face toward a better door. Sometimes, the path closes not to punish, but to prevent you from settling for something smaller than your truth. You may not see it yet, but rejection often speaks the language of mercy. Let every no you've heard become a signpost toward the yes that is worthy of you. Not all doors are meant to open, and not all open doors lead to peace. And above all, may your heart remain soft. In a world that rushes and hardens and forgets, may you still remain tender. Tender enough to notice, to feel, to trust. Because only a soft heart can recognize the gentle arrival of what has always been yours. The heart must be quiet to hear the steps of destiny as it approaches, not with noise, but with presence. So when the time is no longer a barrier, and all is aligned by the hand that never errs, may you receive not only what you prayed for, but what you had forgotten you deserved. Amin.